Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where entrepreneurs and professionals publish to grow their businesses and to leave a legacy. We're doing spotlights across the country and in your town, remarkable people, places, and things. Joining me on this segment is Jose Resendez. He's an entertainment publicist. Jose, welcome to the program.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me.
So, Jose, you're in Los Angeles. Tell us about
Yes.
the types of folks that you specialize in helping and a little bit about your work.
Yes, so I've been working in entertainment publicity for almost a decade now. And the type of people that I help are usually creative, genius people that are putting out music. I mostly work with musicians, producers of content. A lot of also nowadays influencers that are creating digital content for TikTok, YouTube, you name it. But I actually mostly specialize in the Hispanic market. So just reaching the Latin audience, whether it's in the US or Latin America or just Spanish speaking people in general, is what I specialize in.
So, artists and creatives, they're really great at their craft, but they're
Right.
not quite understanding how to market their craft, right? So, tell us a little bit, clear the air about what the importance is of publicity as it relates to their careers.
Well, it's really important because from a digital perspective, of course, there's also SEO, discoverability, just Google rankings. Also, a lot of artists nowadays that are starting, they want to get known through verifications of their social media profiles, and just that allows them to quickly grow their fan base online, which is more profitable that way. Uh, but it's also important because you want to make sure that you have a positive reputation in the media, because a lot of times media is what helps them sell their records by cross promoting their art. So you want to have those really good relationships with TV, radio, especially radio, and all the DSPs, which are digital service providers such as like Apple and Spotify and Deezer and things like that.
Do these artists, are they aware of the things they need to do? Like, where do they learn marketing to begin with? And like, how do they even know where to start?
Well, they can hire somebody like me. uh, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times, especially new artists, they learn marketing themselves, especially the newer generations. Um, but there's a lot of resources out there that are free online that I know of. But I think it's very important to just have a team behind you that backs you up. Um, and this could be a small team starting out with, or of course, once you get into the record label business, usually a team is provided for you.
Can you clarify for us like the role of publicity? Because you hear of marketing, advertising, publicity, all separately. Can you kind of clarify the role and how they work together?
Yes. So advertising is more obviously more paid media. Um, that's where you know exactly what you're paying for. Publicity is more earned media. Um, and so what I say about that is there has to be a storyline, there has to be an angle, a pitch that we go out to the media with, and we really try to persuade them that you are worthy of being talked about in the news, whether it's pop culture news or just business news or consumer news where fans can get to know a little bit more about you. Um, so yeah, I think that's the biggest difference. Is one is more me trying to convince the media to write about you, and the other one is more of a transaction advertising. Marketing is a little bit different because marketing could be an event, a sponsorship, a speaking opportunity, a brand deal.
Terrific. That was great clarification. So
Yeah.
now the folks that want to get this earned media, there's probably a lot of misconceptions out there about how to get earned media or how to get publicity. What are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions you hear out there?
One of them is how important a press release is, for example. I would say back in the day, maybe 5 years ago or more, press releases were super important. But now you don't have to have this huge budget to to do things like putting a press release on the wire. A lot of times you have to hire somebody in publicity that actually has relationships and that has cultivated these relationships where they can just reach out and they can introduce an artist to an editor or to a writer. Uh, but there are a lot of services out there that are very expensive where they promise you all these impressions, but a lot of times it's just web hits that are not found on the internet. So you have to be very careful with that. Um, so yeah, that's the biggest misconception. Every time we have a new client, they're super concerned about the press release and they're concerned about sending it out to as like this wide net, like thousands of editors. And I'm like, no, because we're only going to get about a small percentage of those back. So it's actually more efficient to just reach out to a handful, a targeted media list with a targeted angle, and we'll get you get a better bang for your buck.
So it sounds like it's really more important about that network and the personal connections and the people that you know, rather than just shotgunning the message out there. So with that
Right.
being said, it sounds like a pretty common mistake. So with that theme in mind, could you tell us like one or two like really big common mistakes that artists and creatives make when trying to do publicity on their own?
Um, a big mistake is also being uh, overly available, like for interviews, giving them out to just anybody. So sometimes you do want to do that. Maybe you're starting out and you're just, the word is not desperate. The word is more like you don't have a very targeted vision. And so you're trying to just reach anybody. And so you're giving interviews to anybody, any media out there. And what you really want to do is you want to create a reputation and you want to start honing in on specific media that reflects your targeted audience. And so then I think that that's a big mistake. You have to be more strategic as to where you perform, who you perform along with, who's next to you on stage or in the headlines, what type of tonality the articles are having, what type of publications are writing about you.
Terrific. Jose, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started. Like what inspired you to get into publicity specifically for for entertainers and creatives?
Yes, well, I have a degree in marketing and another one in advertising. And one of my first jobs right out of college was an internship with Sony Entertainment at Columbia Pictures here in Hollywood. And obviously that got the ball rolling in terms of me working in pop culture. And then in Miami, which is where I went to school at, I was always in the entertainment lifestyle side of things. And Miami is kind of like the Latino Hollywood. And so my specialty, and also being Hispanic, has always been reaching the Hispanic market. That's what got me into it. And I've just, it's stuck ever since. And I've been enjoying it. Now I live in Los Angeles, specializing in it. And yeah, it's just something that I'm very passionate about. I'm having a lot of fun and I enjoy my work and my clients. And it also keeps me being creative as well. Because I also have a podcast that I produce myself called the Homo Homie Podcast. And that podcast is also targeted to Latinos, but from an LGBT perspective.
Excellent. Jose, before I ask you my last question, um, right now we're recording this in the midst of a pandemic. How has this affected? I know for a lot of creatives and entertainers out there, it's been pretty devastating as far as live events and that goes. How has this affected your clients and your work specifically?
Well, everything has been virtual, like this interview that we're having right through Zoom. So it's just getting our clients trained to know how to conduct interviews through Zoom. We're kind of over that phase already. Not everybody's on Zoom all the time every day. Um, Also, a lot of our clients sometimes, are getting COVID results, and that has affected, publicity schedules, virtual performance schedules. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's affected us in all kinds of ways. One of the biggest ways is through these live award shows. So we do live award shows like every month, whether it's the American market or Hispanic market. We're always bringing our talent to red carpets, and red carpets are super important because it's a easier, faster, and more fun way to get your image out there from a fashion perspective and from a pop culture perspective. And since a lot of those were canceled or just done virtually, it's been slim pickings.
For our audience out there listening that could certainly use your help, how do they find out more information and learn from you and connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, people can reach me through social media. My Twitter is at the Jose Resendez, and Instagram as well. Um, and also LinkedIn. You could just find me on LinkedIn, Jose Resendez.
Terrific. Jose, I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with my
Yeah,
audience. I really enjoyed our conversation and learning about your business. I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
awesome. Thank you so much, Mark.
This segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where entrepreneurs and professionals publish to grow their businesses and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. Join me on my next segment and take care. I'm Mark Imperial.